Welcome to Mamas and Mimosas. I'm Roni,
I'm Marianne.
I'm Janelle.
and today we're talking all about chores and routines for our kids. What kind of chores we had as kids compared to the chores we have our kids do, how early we start them, and how we feel about allowances. So grab your mimosas, pop in those earphones, and let's dive right in.
Oh my god, it's gonna get deep, guys.
A shit show, a pure shit show. It literally takes a village.
I don't know if it was dirty or clean.
Oh my god.
Bad mom, like
yeah.
on file. Yes, because I'm shining. Woo! That was good, guys.
All right, guys. So before we start, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us during this crazy quarantine. We know you guys are crazy busy at home with your families and playing teacher with them. So the fact that you guys are still finding the time to listen to us while you guys are in the shower, cleaning your house, doing laundry, while the babies are napping, it seriously means everything to us. We know your minutes are precious, and we promise to get right to the point. We appreciate you guys sticking with us during this tough time, and we'll continue to show up for you guys every single week unless the internet crashes for some reason. So
Don't say that.
hopefully it doesn't. We'll die. Imagine if it did though, like how
No.
crazy. Then shit would get real. Like
Oh,
forget
yeah.
toilet paper.
It'll be
Forget
a-
toilet paper.
be a
Everybody would
purge.
go crazy.
purge.
Yes. Oh my god. Okay, so let's take it back to our childhood, like how chores were.
In the 90s, how were chores?
In the 90s, no. I'll go first.
It's like I'm younger. Yes.
My childhood experience with chores, I just remember always having to dust. Like dusting was my thing. And my mom has like stacks on stacks on stacks of like figurines, these little figurines all over. So I remember having to like move one, then go move. So my thing was dusting, and then I remember as I got older, it became dusting and then vacuuming, and it was I want to say every Saturday is when she would make me and my brother do our chores. So as I got older, like I would have to take over his chores, and he'd have to pick up like a harder chore, like mowing the grass or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like a daily. We never really had daily chores other than washing the dishes. Like whoever finished last had to wash all of the dishes. But
So then,
we
go ahead.
never got allowance.
No.
We like if we ever needed money, we would just ask her because she would want to know what it was for. And then,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good.
But
Okay,
no
so
allowance.
how old were you guys when you started like dusting those little like her little
Figurines.
trinkets and stuff?
I
Yeah.
was, man, I don't know. What I can remember was probably like 6 or 7. I mean, I'm sure she had me do things when I was younger than that, but I don't remember anything before 5.
Nice.
Were they glass? Like she trusted you at 6 or 7 with glass?
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't trust my son.
Yeah, with certain things.
Like clay or like the porcelain, but she had glass figurines.
Oh no,
too,
everyone's
yeah.
frozen.
Wait, Janelle's like messing up.
Is it? Let me push stop. I think she was just happy that it was getting done, whether something broke or not. Because like when we're cleaning out our house now, since she passed, and there's figurines that are like cracked and
So
so
you did?
I'm sure
You-
like there were some that have just been there and been cracked and glued back together for years. So I'm sure like it was better done than not done at all.
Yeah. Oh.
Were you like, did you guys hate doing chores, or were you guys just like, okay, like whatever about it?
I hated it, but then because I would watch my brother doing it at the same time, I didn't complain as much. So I'm like, oh, well, if he's doing it, then I'll just do mine too then.
Oh. And you said you didn't have to do it on the daily, so did you not have to make your own bed? Or like clean up your room or laundry or anything like that?
I used to sleep in the living room on the floor, like with my grandma and my sister. So like my grandma would just make like clean up after we were all up. So
Oh, your grandma lived with you guys this
Yeah.
whole time? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
Me
that.
neither.
so yeah, she came when I want to say when my brother was born, maybe, or when I was born. She's been with us since like before I was born.
Wow. So is she like a second mom kind of to you guys?
Yeah.
So then that's how your mom was able to work so many different
hmm
jobs.
So she would watch us. So my mom would work from like 2 to 11, and that's when we'd come home from school, and we would just be with my grandma.
Oh, wow. That helps so much though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
so your mom, so your grandmother would clean up after you guys? Basically,
Yeah.
like while you guys were at school and stuff?
Yeah.
Grandmas usually do.
I wish my grandma lived with me.
What was your childhood experience, Janelle?
Mine?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had tons of chores. So we lived we had like half of an acre. No, I don't think it was half. I think it was a quarter acre, but it was like this huge ass backyard, and there was weeds that were like as tall as us. And we used to think it was a jungle. And so when we moved in, my dad, like our chores were to pull the weeds. And so I remember my brother had a machete and he'd go out there like literally just hacking away, thinking like we would play like it was a jungle. It was such a random childhood. But so that was our chores, was like to pull the weeds. My dad had a chicken coop that he made in the backyard, so we had to go and get the eggs every morning before school, and we would get bird shit all over our shoes and smell like freaking chicken poop. And then we have to go on there and clean up the poop and stuff. And like all of our chores, I remember thinking, because my parents would take me to school in Chino Hills. So I remember thinking, like, none of these kids are cleaning up chickens in the morning, like getting freaking fresh eggs, Like, how come I gotta roll up with my bird shit all over my shoes?
Mm.
Yeah, that was our chores. And I feel like other things like recyclables, like we would collect recyclables, and so we'd have to like separate them and put like the plastics from the bottles and all of that stuff, and then clean up our rooms. But what I feel like the rooms were always the last to be clean, and we would just shove everything in the closet. But yeah, my dad was not going to pay us for that. That was like our contribution to the household, was like making the backyard nice, or attempting to, and upkeeping the house.
That was your rent. You were paying for room and board.
He would call policing the area. And then we lived right next door to an elementary school, and the kids would walk by and literally just throw their trash, like Dorito bag chips and all that, or chip bags or whatever. And so we would have to go out there after the kids already walked home from school and like pick up all the trash that they'd littered in our front yard. It was fun. It was fun. It was different.
Yeah.
Did you guys get allowance? No, not a.
No, she said she didn't. Right? You didn't.
No way. No way. No. And then, there were so many of us too that like,
yeah, that would have been
really
expensive.
had to like, yeah, that would have been expensive. And honestly, like I remember, when we asked for money, we really had to like pitch it. Like, okay, look, I need $10. I'll split it with my sister. We'll drink nothing but water, and we'll split an appetizer, like in order to go somewhere, like we really had to make that $10 work. It was just, that was what it was. Yeah.
For me, so I would have like daily chores, like as far as like cleaning my room, doing the dishes, taking out the trash. And then I remember like and it's so funny because I feel like I do this with my kids too, just because I grew up that way. Like every Saturday morning when I would wake up to a smell of like my mom cleaning the house, and her music would be blasting. And I knew like, oh, it's Saturday morning pickup. So then I would get up and she would have all this stuff for me to do, and I have to clean. But like every Saturday, I knew it was time to clean every Saturday. So, and I kind of like my kids know on Saturday morning when I turn up the music, they're like, all right, here we go. Let's get ready because mom is cleaning.
But that's cute that you have that like tradition, you know, that you guys. So did that kind of ease the pain of having to do chores because like the music was on and everybody else was doing
Oh,
it, so you
absolutely.
felt like,
And now I feel like I can't. It's so funny because whenever I clean anything, like even in the kitchen to this day, like I have music going. Like it helps. I don't know. It's weird, but it makes things like smoother and easier for me. So anytime I get into cleaning anything, old school R&B is on or country or something, it's blasting and I'm cleaning.
So then how old were you when your mom, like how old were you when your mom started you off like cleaning up and stuff, having to like help out around the house?
So I
Were you?
remember I actually remember my grandma starting me like I remember helping my grandma cook, like getting the stool and like helping her like mix stuff. Like if
Mhm.
she was making a cake or something, I would help her mix it and lick the bowl. But I remember doing that at like I feel like I was about 5 from what I can remember with like starting little stuff here and there. And then once I turned 7, then they start adding more like taking out the trash and gradually working my way up till I feel like when I was about 9, I was fully cleaning the kitchen, like the whole kitchen, not just the dishes, like wiping the counter down, moving the chairs, sweeping underneath there. So yeah.
That's good.
We had a rule in the house, like once you turned 8, you had to like start doing the dishes at night.
Mhm.
So we it was so we would have like a week, like my brother would do the dishes for a whole week and then I had to like clear the table, put the food away, and then vice versa. So like everybody had their week of like doing the dishes
Mhm.
um and yeah, so that was 8 years old. But and then like when we were younger, we would, you know, help out around the house and do. So my mom had a disinfecting day, and that was like on Wednesdays, when she was home with us, and then on Saturdays when she was off of work, or I'm sorry, when she was working. So she had to do it on Saturdays, but most of the time it was like on Wednesdays. And she would do the same thing. She'd put the music on and everybody,
Mhm.
and then I feel like she would clean up most of the house. We were just in charge of our rooms until we got a little bit older. Then we started having to like scrub the toilets and take a bathroom and stuff. And then after it was clean, she would kick us out, and because she didn't want anybody to like dirty the
Yep,
house,
mess up her
she
house.
would kick us out, and so we would have to play outside. But you know what? I don't remember ever dusting. I think she was the only one that dusted. I remember spending the night at my cousin's house, and they had the same thing. Like their mom would make them polish the furniture
Yeah.
and like dust it, you know, with the pledge and stuff. And I remember thinking that's so weird. And then we didn't. We did have carpet, but I don't remember vacuuming either. Like now that I'm older and I have to vacuum and dust, I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? Like,
You don't
and
remember.
And now that you say that you had to like dust each little individual trinket on your in your mom's shelves, like, am I supposed to be doing that? Because I kind of dust around everything.
I
I
hate
don't.
dusting.
I don't
It'll
think I'm
like
dusting right.
if you don't and you lift it up after X amount of time, it'll have like
Yeah,
the little
it'll have the
shape
stuff
of the
in the bottom.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And it gets dusty in your area too, right? Because of the
Oh my
winds and stuff. Because
gosh,
it gets dusty over here.
it gets so
Dust-
dusty. Like every week we have to dust, but like I'm too lazy to move everything off of the shelves. Okay. Oh my gosh. So wait, then Roni, did you get allowance?
No, I didn't get allowance. Nope. I feel like they felt like this is what you should do. Like you don't get
Yeah,
allowance for cleaning your room. Like you're supposed to clean your room. You sleep in it. You're lucky you have a room. So no, I didn't. I didn't get any allowance.
that's true.
No.
That's the
Yeah.
same. I feel like it's so different nowadays. Like
Mhm.
nowadays, everybody gives their kids allowances, and I get it because it's incentive. Like you want them to earn, like to learn the value of money
Mhm.
and the value of a dollar and to work for it. So you start them off doing that, you know, but then it backfires because then they just want to spend all their money on the ice cream truck or, you know, and you're like, No, save it. So do you guys, okay, so how young did you guys like start your chores for your kids?
I'll go. Landon, I want to say last year, which was 4 for him, we would do little, like not even really big chores, just like a little, like pick up the toys in your room. So at the end of the night, like your everything off the floor in your room should be like put away. But it wasn't till this year, and especially during this quarantine, is when we started doing legit chores. Like we have the puppy now, so he's in charge of feeding the dog in the morning and at night.
Oh,
He has
wow.
to make his bed now every morning. What else does he do? He has to set the table. Trying to think. And it's funny because I think I mentioned it like in our Q&A episode where we were doing like a sticker chart for him.
Mm-hmm.
And now like during this whole quarantine, his behavior has gone through the roof with us. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to think of a different way to like keep him in check because the sticker board wasn't doing the trick anymore. So we started Monopoly money.
Oh,
So
okay.
I started like he can earn $1 for this chore, or he can earn, and it was a big deal for us to get him to brush his teeth. Only at the nighttime though. I feel like it was his way of stalling to go to bed. And it would get to the point where we were like would tell him a million times and then he just wouldn't do it and would start talking back, and then it would turn into a full-blown argument, and like our nightly routine just like went down the
Turned
drain.
upside down.
Yeah, because then like he would lose his book that we would read to him, or like, and then we would just go to bed mad. Like it got
Mm.
to the point where it was almost every night because of his damn like brushing teeth issue. So we're like, all right, look, if we do this Monopoly thing, maybe we can make that like we make it $3. Everything else is like a $1 or $2, $1
Mm-hmm.
probably, but brushing his teeth is $3 that he gets. So, and it works so far. Like we've been doing it for like a week and a half now. So, and because it got so bad, like he lost all his toys and all his like cubbies and whatever. So I'm like, and the only way prior to this whole quarantine that he was able to get his toys back was if he got his 30 stickers on his little chore chart or his reward chart. But then it was like never happening because he was always
Right.
being bad. So I was like, okay, now he's just like given up and won't ever get his toys. And now he's annoying the F out of me because he has no toys to play with. So with the money, he's able to buy his toys back and it's faster. And I think so far it's working. But that's what we're doing with him.
Yeah.
So he could buy his own toys faster, or he gets
His
new toys too?
No, he at one point he had all his toys taken away, like everything in the house. So he needs to buy like his cubbies back. So he has like a Lego cubby, he has a dinosaur cubby, and he needs to like buy them back
Save
before
up
he
and get it
yeah,
back.
before he can ever ask for like a new toy.
That's
Man,
cool.
that's cool. Yeah.
Because before with that like sticker board, like if he earned 30 stickers at the end of the week, he was able to like get a new toy or go to the movie theater. And now like
Clearly.
yeah, so now we can't go to the movie theater, and we always do movie night on Fridays, so it's like not anything special to him anymore. Like
Yeah.
because we always
It's
do it on Friday.
routine. Yeah.
And yeah, and I don't want to buy online a new toy when he still has like a shitload of toys in our storage that he doesn't even deserve. So we're telling him he needs to earn them back before he can ever get a new toy.
And that's working. That's cool.
So far, yeah. And
I
he's
feel
5.
like we always have to find new ways to make
Yeah.
things work, you know?
Yeah.
Because when things get repetitive, they're like, okay, nope, I'm over this. So
Yeah.
you constantly have to find new ways and challenges to do it. We used to do something like that too, where they could collect money throughout the week, and then when we have movie night, they would use their money to buy like treats that I would have. But like after a while, they're like, okay, well, I don't really want a treat now. Like, you know, they get they get over it really fast. So, but I started them off. So as soon as they like start playing with their toys and they can put them away, you kind of feel like introducing them to that, putting your own toys away, um, and just having them help with little things around the house. So I would say probably about like 3. I mean, Harley has chores, but they're like just her own, like put your toys away, put her clothes in the dirty hamper, she's getting herself dressed, like so stuff like that is I think when I safe to say start them at 3, I guess.
Do you feel like you started earlier and earlier for every kid that you had because you were having more kids and needed them to like contribute more? Or do you feel like you always started early, like even with your first?
I feel like I kind of always started early as far as like putting the stuff away and like challenging them to like start getting themselves dressed or and like all the kids even now Harley makes her bed but it's not good, like I have to go over it, but before they come down from their room they have to have their bed made, like right when they get out of bed they need to make the bed before they come down for breakfast. So she thinks she
That's a
makes
good
her bed,
idea.
but it's not, she just pulls the cover up, but it's still like, you know, introducing
Still
her
the
to
idea.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
cute. That's a good idea. Okay, so they before they get dressed, they make their bed and then they come down for breakfast,
yeah,
or
so
they get
right,
dressed while they're up there too.
no, they come down, but right when they wake up, I don't know if they have to pee or whatever, but before they even come down they make the bed. That's the first thing they do in the morning, and then they'll come down for breakfast, and then they usually go back up and get dressed and everything, because some I used to do it where they would come down dressed but then they would have spills and stuff and then we would have to change them anyway before school, so I just was like, okay, forget it, make your bed, come down for breakfast, and then we'll get dressed. That way we'll eliminate changing the clothes twice
Yeah.
because that's what was happening.
Do you let them pick out their own clothes?
I that was the hardest thing for me. That was the hardest thing for me. But I read somewhere that it's very good to start letting them be independent and picking out their own clothes. So I do, and it sometimes it drives me crazy, especially Peyton, because the stuff that he comes up with, like shorts and like hiking boots and like crazy stuff, and I'm like, Peyton, no, that's not
So
gonna
do you make
fly.
them change?
I just kind of like, you know, like, okay, it's gonna rain or it's gonna be cold, you might want to put jeans on, like
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, but I let him go and correct it, but it is so hard, it's so hard.
Does he put up a fight about it, or is he like, do you think that he's trying to make a fashion statement with the hiking boots and all that, or
No,
is he
he
just
just
like
doesn't
grabbing
care.
whatever's
Yeah.
there? Okay, because that's
He's
my
my
middle one
child.
too.
Yeah, he's my child that does not like, he doesn't care about what he looks like. He's more concerned about other things. Like, but my oldest, he definitely cares what he puts on. But Peyton can care less. Like, that's not his concern. He doesn't care. And he'll
But
get
your
mad
older
if
one,
Devin
did
tells
he
him something.
always care? Did your older one always care, or just now that he's older and like in middle school?
No, I think he always cared. But I think too is because since he was my first child, I always cared too. So I would like overly dress him. Like, you remember, like
Yeah.
I would dress
Uh-huh.
him like
Your little
crazy
GQ
dresses.
baby.
So I think that was kind of my fault starting him. And then once you have the second baby, you know that commercial where they're like, yeah, second baby gets all the hand me downs. So now Peyton's like, I don't care. I had all his hand
Mm.
me downs.
But they were nice. They were nice hand-me-downs to have. um my gosh, I remember like my six, no, he's 7 now. My 7-year-old does not care like what he wears. He will wear the same shirt all week long if I let him, underneath his hoodie, and I have to like inspect him because I'm like, you wore that yesterday, you can't wear that today. He's he's a little nasty. He's nasty. Does Landon care about his clothes yet, or does he like want to pick out his own clothes?
I let him at first when I started it. I want to say he was probably like when he started preschool, so like 3 or 4 ish.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the same thing about letting them choose their, it like makes them feel independent and helps with their creativity. Because I used to always dress him when he was a baby, like all like done up.
Nice.
And when I first introduced it to him, like letting him choose, I would pull out like 2 outfits for him and I'd let him choose. So it was still giving him the chance to make a decision, but at least they were like fairly put together.
Yeah.
But now that he's 5, like I've been telling him like, go get dressed. Well, because of the quarantine, like I really don't care, but I still make him get dressed as if he's going to school. But it's not like anything put together. Like he'll just throw on like whatever's on top of the pile in his drawers. But shoe wise, I feel like he tries to make like a fashion statement. Like he'll bring out his Jordans and be like, these are my fast ones, mom. Or like his rain boots, because I don't know.
Cute.
But the clothing wise, no, he doesn't give enough.
No.
The hardest part.
Harley doesn't like try to pick out her own clothes already?
She tries. But with her, I do like how Marianne does. I give her options. Like we'll go to the closet and I'll kind of be like, do you want to wear this or this or this? And then she picks.
Ray gets to the closet first. She like the baby, she's 2, and she like gets to the closet first. She tells me, give me your hand. She'll take me to the closet and she knows exactly which summer dress she wants to wear. And I'm like, it's raining outside, and she wants her summer dress with her sandals, and it's like a fight. And I try to give her the options, like, okay, no, it's either this or this, and she starts crying. And
what?
and I'm
Already?
like, dude, and this is so early. This is the earliest, because the boys, my first, when he was a toddler, he went through a stage where he would try everything on, like, and it wasn't to leave the house. It was like he just wanted to change constantly his clothes. Like, this shirt itches, and he would change his clothes. Oh, I like the dinosaur in this one. And I made the mistake by giving him like full range of his room. So he got away with so much. Oh my gosh. Like, I was not good like you guys. I wasn't on top of him. Like we had no schedule. We had no system. I would bring out every single one of his toys that he owned. I would bring him to the living room and just let him play with everything. And he would probably all week long, they were just a disaster all around our living room. Like, we would never pick them up. Because at the time I had my cake decorating business in the kitchen. So I'm like, hey kid, as long as you're having fun playing, let me make these cakes and we're good. Yeah. And so that was like our life. So getting him to like clean up, we would sing that clean up song. That was like our song. But he didn't really like grasp the concept of cleaning up. And even now, I feel like even now he's my hard one to like stay on top of it. And I think because I didn't start early on, and with the other one, like my middle son, we started a lot earlier, because by then there were toys everywhere, and then there was 2 of them now, and then on top of that we had my mom living with us, and then at some point we had my father-in-law and my sister. So it was just, there was so much going on. So I had to teach the little ones to like pick up after themselves. But it was probably like, and Max, he picked it up quick. Like, he liked cleaning up. Like, he was like a little organizer. Like, he would put all his shoes in a circle and like match them, like pair them up and stuff. He was funny. But and then my first one though, he was so lazy. He never, it was like pulling teeth to get him to like want to do his chores. And the baby, I think because she sees now that the big kids are doing chores, we've tried to make it like fun, because before, oh my God, I used to always scream. I used to always tell them, like, I feel like I was just that screaming mom all the time. Like, you forgot to do this. You forgot to do that. Or always reminding them, pick up your shoes. Where do you put your towel? Where do you do this? Where do you do that? And I don't know. I think one of you guys said this, like, you felt like a broken record. Like, every time you're just always saying the same on repeat. And so I actually started like Googling stuff, because I had lost it. Like, I felt like my patience was gone. So I was like, how to get your kids to do chores on YouTube. They have so many good tips. Have you guys, like, so did you guys ever feel, okay, hold on, let's take it back. when you guys were teenagers, was your room like really organized? Like, were you guys really good at like cleaning up your room, making your bed and all that stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Oh.
funny that you mentioned that, because when I first met my husband, he would say, like, I remember he had said something about, like, if you want to know if a person or like a potential like person you want to date is like a messy person or a clean person, you look at their car. And if you like peek inside their car, if it's clean, then they're usually clean at home. Like they're a clean person. Or if it's messy, then their room looks like shit and they're a messy person. So I remember he would like try to look in my car, and I was like always clean. And so I'm like, oh, this guy, like he told me that, like, oh, I would look in your car to see it. And I, in my head, I'm like, oh, because he's a clean freak. But now that like we're married and like we live together, I am the clean one, and he's like messy as fuck.
I was gonna say, is this the car pre-kids, right? Because a car
Yes.
with kids is a different story.
It's
Different
a jungle.
Yeah.
It's a jungle back there in the back seat. I don't know what's going on back there.
A car with kids is, ugh.
Yeah, so my room was always clean. And then, like, when you asked that, it reminded me.
My room was like, I feel like it was organized because I just had like a lot of shit. Like I had like a lot of shoes, I had like a lot of nail polish, and then I had posters covering my wall. Like you couldn't even see a piece of white on my wall. Like it was just covered with NSYNC and Kobe and who else did I have on there? It was covered. But that's why it was like that, because it was like I had stuff like displayed. Like I remember my dad made me like this nail polish organizer, like the nail shop. So I had that on the wall with all my polish. Like it was just like that. It was like I remember people would come over like, oh my God, your room looks so fun. So that's why it was, because it was more of like a creativity thing, or like I stayed in my room so much that I will always keep it clean because I barely came out. That's why.
I'm embarrassed, but I feel like I only cleaned it on the weekends. Like I would shove everything in the closet just to get my parents to be quiet, or shove it under the bed. And then like I would really like clean it on disinfecting day, or like on the weekend when my cousins were gonna come spend the night or whatever. But no, I hated cleaning up my room. So I was that person that was like, oh, I'm just gonna put it in the corner. But I still do this. Like, okay, so my room is the last room to clean, and I let all the clean laundry like pile up in my room. Like instead of folding it as it comes out, I just I'll fold it, and then I'll keep it in the baskets, and then they just pile up, and then we'll just kind of live through the baskets and sort through it during the week, like what we need. And yeah, it's still like that. And my husband, he used to have a really clean room growing up, but I feel like I don't know if he's just given up.
He's adjusted.
I don't know if he's given up on life, and he's like, fuck it, she's never gonna clean this shit up. Oh my God.
So I won't lie now, because my closet now, I will like fold stuff and put it in there, and I notice it will pile up. But I feel like it's because I don't have any place to put it. So I just put it there.
Your closet's huge.
You have a huge walk-in closet.
But on my side of the closet, like literally, like stuff will pile up over there because I don't have anywhere to put it. So it's a lot different from when I was younger room. But you will never know.
Yeah.
You just close the closet.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. My room's the last thing to clean. Like we'll clean the living room and everything else, and other than that. So when people come over, I'm like, don't go in my room. Don't go in my room.
Because the first thing people see is your living room and stuff, right? So that's why your room is neglected, because no one's gonna go in your room. People hardly ever go in your room.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Not your room.
Okay. No, I know. Okay, so then how did you guys like get your kids to do chores? Like were they happy about it, or do they hate chores, or what kind of chores do they do, and at what ages? Like what did you start them off with? just picking up their toys and putting them in their
Taking
boxes?
their toys.
And that's just toddler years?
Yeah. So yeah, I want to say Landon was probably like 3, and Levi's at the point where I'm starting to teach him like I'll do the same song that you do, like the cleanup song, and he starts like he'll put like 1 or 2 things in the basket, but at least he's figuring it out. So um, teaching them to just put their toys away was the first thing that I taught the boys, and then Landon, I want to say. Um, Now that he's 5, he's doing the like setting the table before dinner, and after he's done eating, he has to put his plate and like whatever leftover food he has, he throws it away and he has to put his plate in the sink. Um,
That's really good. Do you guys have glass plates? I know I'm really weird
we
about
we
glass.
do, but for the kids, they don't. Like they have like
Okay.
the trays, like the
Mhm.
rubber or plastic trays.
Okay.
But even then, he'll like just put it like I've given him like a saucer that's glass, and he'll just put it up at the sink. He doesn't
okay.
just throw it, so because he has thrown like his dish in the sink before, and I'm like, no, you need to place it there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we'll have like food like defrosting in the sink or whatever, and so if he throws something in there, and we're like, hello, there's food in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then kids are good for putting their whole plate in there with food still on it.
Yeah, so we've
don't
taught
like
him
that,
to
though.
like scrape it off into the trash, or yeah, he's good with that. And then taking care of his dog that we got him for his birthday. Well, him and my husband. So I think he feels like it's his responsibility since it was like a birthday gift for him. Um, what else does he do? He puts his clothes, and every night I just make him make sure his room is like clean. And like Roni, like I make him do his bed, and it looks like shit still, but it's better than nothing. Like his bed is really easy though, but he just like pulls the cover over, and I mean, sometimes it looks like shit.
Do you guys go back and fix it, or do you guys let it sit there?
I let it sit for a while. Usually, like I let it sit, and then when he's at school, I'll fix it. Well, not like super clean, but like so that it's not driving me nuts. But
Yeah.
I leave it so that because somebody said like if you teach your kids to do something and then you go and fix it in front of them, it like makes them think like they didn't do it right and that they don't want to do it anymore, or
It's like not good enough.
it lessens the value of what they did. So what was the point, kind of thing. So I just leave it until he's not looking, or if it's not bad, I'll just leave it. But
yeah. What about you, Ron?
Same.
Do you leave it?
Yeah, and leave it unless it's like a Saturday cleanup or we're gonna have company or something, and then I'll have them help me with it. Yeah.
Yeah, when company comes over, you're like, I want this shit done right.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah.
It's
Me
fine.
too.
It's fine.
I know, and I read the same thing too, Marianne, about like making them not feel like they did it right and like they're not good enough and stuff. So it was so hard for me to like leave the stuff, especially the more chores that I had them doing. It was so hard to like let go of it. So some of those YouTube videos, this mom has like 8 kids, right? And she has her kids like, okay, so she's the one who taught me how to make like a chore list, right? So you don't have to keep repeating yourself over and over again, and you just tell the kid, go to your clipboard. So we have a clipboard, and if you go to our YouTube video, I will show you on YouTube, and I'll try to link it in our show notes too. But so for each age, they have like, or so for like my first son, he's older, he's 11, so he has more responsibilities, you know, and then my 7-year-old has like his age appropriate chores. But so she has them doing like all kinds of chores, like scrubbing toilets and like wiping, like cleaning windows, like and your glass doors and stuff, like, and all that stuff I would never let them do, because I'm like, first of all, they're not going to do it right, they're just going to make it more messy, and then I'm going to have to go and clean up after them, like, you know, you said, and then I'm going to make them feel bad, and I don't want to have to do all that, you know. But she was saying like you have to teach them young, because this way there's like a certain age period where they actually want to help, you know, when they're
Oh,
toddlers
yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah.
I'll do it. And we're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no, just go sit down.
Yeah.
So like you have to like take advantage of that age group apparently. So like with Ray, when she sees the boys doing chores and she wants to wash a window and you know all her hands are all over it, but I still let her because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is when she wants to do it and hopefully she'll kind of, I'm trying it different with her. But so like I had the boys sweeping the floors, dusting, cleaning the toilets, cleaning the mirrors and all this stuff, and it was so bad. It was so bad, especially like I would only fix it if company was going to come over like on a weekend or whatever, and it was usually when they were outside so they didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it really helped them. Like I feel like they started just doing it, and it was weird because just getting them to clean their room, they would fight with me like, no mom, it's gonna take me hours, because it would take them hours because their toys would like build up, you know. And so I would tell them like, if we just do it 30 minutes every day, it'll get shorter and shorter because, you know, your rooms won't be so dirty or what have you. So we actually put a timer on, like a clean, like just a regular timer. We set it to like 30 minutes, and then we'll bump the music and we'll put it all, we call it a cleaning party or chore party, and we'll just like dance and then clean. And it's funny because they'll try to just dance, like they just end up dancing with the room. And I'm like, okay guys, this is also a cleaning, like we have to clean, you know, the whole point of this is to freaking clean.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to make it, I'm trying to make it fun for them so it's not such a hassle, especially the older that they get. They're like, I don't want to clean up, you know. But if we
So
do
it's
it
not
early,
such a chore.
yes. Do you guys do allowance in your house?
I do the Monopoly money now, but he's only
Will
5.
you do like real money at like, or have you guys talked about that?
We've thought about it, but I think if we ever do, it would start off like we wouldn't start off with dollars. We would start off with like coins, like real money. So, I mean, he doesn't need it, and if anything, he's gonna buy toys with it. So,
Yeah.
We started off debt with our oldest. He used to get an allowance for a while. We did allowance, but then he would start like slacking on the chores and like forgetting, and so I would take it away because I'm like, well, you're not even doing your chores, you're not remembering to do it, so we take it away. And then it just got to the point where it was like, you need to do this stuff, like, so
Yeah.
if you want to, like, he likes to go with his friends when we're not in this quarantine, go different places. So that's like his incentive. Like if you have everything done, all your chores done, then most likely you can go. And then if he needs money or something to go and everything is done that he had to do for the week, we would give it to him. So it's kind of like an allowance, but a little controlled, versus just like on a regular basis.
So how do you guys keep track of their chores? Like, do you feel like you have to constantly remind them, or do they have like a list, or do they just remember the chores that they're supposed to be doing, or like?
for Lennon,
Guys?
like making his bed is like a must before he gets to play in the mornings. Like when we're getting ready for school or whatever, he can't play with any toys until his bed's made. And then like his other chores, like we still do the sticker chart like on the side, like because it has like feeding the dog on there, and so
Okay,
he
so
still
it has
has
a
that
list.
going. But then we also added the Monopoly money, like so say like he still can earn his stickers. So if he earns 5 stickers that day, he'll get like $3 that day. So I
Okay.
think our sticker board is what's keeping him, like reminding him he has to feed the dog, he has to do this. But the bed is just like a daily thing that he should always do in order to start playing in the mornings.
Yeah. That's good. We still don't make the bed right when we wake up. Like we have a cleaning time, but it's usually like after breakfast. So, and then they'll like clean for a while. But we still don't make their bed. Do you guys make your bed right when you guys wake up? Are you guys good at that?
I do.
I
Yeah.
do.
You don't?
It drives me crazy if it's not made.
Me too. And when growing up, my grandma always told me that that's the first thing you do. So I was like raised up to like that's the first thing you do when you get out of bed. I make my before it's something before I even brush my teeth before anything. That when I jump out the bed, I just make it up, and that's already done, and I don't have to worry about it throughout
That's
the
so
day.
cool. You know, my husband is on like all these different kind of schedules. So if I try to implement that, it's like sometimes he's sleeping in the bed when I
Hmm.
wake up, and then he didn't make it, you know. So we with him being home from work from his surgery, I was like, hey, how about we try something where
Hmm.
the last person that gets out of the bed has to make it, you know? And so then he was like, all right, that's cool. I could do that. So some like for the most part, he remembers. Sometimes he'll forget and he'll be like, oh, I was going to make it. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. But we're trying to get better at that. Both of us are trying to work on that because, yeah, it makes such a huge difference to make your damn bed. And like, you feel like,
More
oh, the house.
productive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you have that sticker chart that keeps track of his chores. Roni, how do you keep track of the kids' chores? Do they have like a
So
chart system or
we
something?
we have a chore chart. However, it's in like our laundry room there if they need to reference back to it. But for the most part, I feel like they have it memorized because I hardly ever see them go like check the chore chart. And then usually I'll go see if it's done at a certain time and
Mm-hmm.
they just remember to do it. And then they have like certain things they have to do. Like on Tuesdays, like Peyton has to go all around the whole house and get all of the trash out the trash cans. And then him and Devin have to take the trash down the hill, like both of them. So they just remember on their own. Like one of them, either the older one will remind the young one, or someone will be like, "It's Tuesday, we got to take the trash cans down." So I think they kind of got into the routine, so now they're used to it.
How
How
old
Like
the
did
on
hell
their
did
own.
that
you?
happen?
Huh?
How old was
I-
Peyton when you started the trash?
Peyton actually just started the trash this since he's been 7. Like with him
Okay.
actually because we have that hill,
Yeah.
and I was like terrified of like him trying to take this big trash can down the hill, but like he wanted to help. Like he was like, actually he started doing it on his own. He started like going to help Devin, and then one day I saw him doing it, and I'm like, you can get that big trash can down there. And he's like, yeah, I like doing it. So then I just added that to his chore thing to take it down. But he just started that
Okay.
trash can thing this year. Yeah.
Can you guys post a picture of your guys' chore system when we launch
Yeah.
this so that
Mhm.
we can attach that to the show notes? Because I want to see, and we can link your sticker
Yeah.
chart to. Where did you get it from?
I think I linked it on our Q&A one.
Oh,
Um,
did you? Oh, okay. So we'll have
I
to link it
just
to this one too.
I just found it in the dollar section at Target. It's like a magnet board and it was
We
a
might
chore
have the
chart.
same
But
one.
I do stickers because
Okay,
he
we
likes it.
I think I have that same one from Target with the
Yeah.
magnets, and it's like a little
And you can
like,
fill it
like a
in.
whiteboard
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
So it
Hmm.
has
I
the
used
days
to
of the
have
week.
one. I used to have one when Jack was a baby. My first was a baby, and we lost all the magnets because I never was on it. I
Yeah.
was
We
horrible.
lost all the magnets too.
Oh, you did?
Hmm.
Okay. So Max
Got
started doing the trash. Like he doesn't take out the trash because some things are too heavy for him.
it.
So like he doesn't take out the trash, but he like Jack will take the trash out and then Max will put the bag back in the trash can.
Oh, that's a good.
But he also like collects all the trash cans, like the
Yeah.
bathroom trashes because they're smaller. And then he like puts water in the dog bowl, and the older one will clean the dog poop. And then so every morning I go around the house with this basket and just throw in like everything that doesn't belong in the living room and the kitchen and the dining room. And then it's like part of their chores to like get all their stuff from that basket.
I love
So
that
just
idea. I've seen you do that you posted before, and I was like, oh, that is so
Yeah.
cool.
that has helped so much because
Really?
how many times do you pick up something from the
Yeah.
kitchen and you're like, this doesn't belong here, and then on your way you like lose track of what you were doing, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I went all the way over here for one thing, and now you just throw everything.
Walking
It's like
back.
you don't even have to think. You're just like, that doesn't belong here, and you're like, hey, okay guys, get your stuff or I'm throwing it away.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they'll
That's a
come
good
and get all
idea.
their stuff, um and then they do all their dishes. And then the big one, I trust him to like load the dishwasher, and then the little one, I trust him to unload it. Something about loading the dishwasher, I don't trust the little one to do yet. He's 7, and I feel like he just would like cram everything in, you know? So, so they do that. They load and unload. And then I don't have him unload the knives though, because I still get nervous. But then you see those kids on like Kids Chef Master
And
or
they're
Master Chef,
chopping
and they're
stuff.
chopping stuff at like 5, and you're like, holy cow! I don't let them touch any knives.
Janelle, when Max takes the dishes out, does he put them in their place, in the correct places, or he does not, or you don't let him?
He does, because we have everything lower. We have like all of so our island has a bunch of those pull-out drawers, and so it's easy for him to put the cups in. We try to make it real like easy for the kids to be able to reach. For the dishes that are taller, he'll just leave them on the counter for me, and then I'll load those. Okay. And like the knives he'll leave in the dishwasher, and then I'll load those. But the one that he like is barely learning how to like not make a mess is the Tupperware. You know how there's all those lids and they're all different sizes and stuff? He would just shove them in there, and then the cabinet wouldn't close. So then I was like, okay, I'll do them. But now I'm like, you're getting older, bud. You can piece things together and it, you know, kind of make a puzzle
like a
out
project.
of pieces. Yeah.
Which shape fits on the top of this one?
Exactly. So that's new for us. We'll see how that goes. But and then we'll have him like pull weeds in the backyard. My childhood chore.
Right.
But yeah, the way that we keep track of it is on these checklists, and this way I don't have to remind them, and I just, even though I end up reminding them to go check the damn checklist, because I'm like, just go. I hate it because they'll be like, I'm almost done. I don't care if you're almost done, just go finish it. Oh, but we do allowance. Okay, so what we were doing when school was in session and they didn't have many chores, we did chore sticks. So they have like a list of things that they have to do on a daily basis, like after school or in the morning, no matter what. And that's like just cleaning them. It'll remind them to shower and dress, you know, like those kind of things. Like I even have to remind them, use mouthwash, put face lotion on or sunscreen or whatever, because my kids' skin gets so dry, and then they had like eczema on their face, like right here on their mouth. So I had to like constantly remind them to put like Vaseline or the Aquaphor or some stuff like that. So anyway, I just include all of that like hygiene stuff in their list too. So this way they like check it off. But for the extra stuff, like things that are bigger, like, oh, help me pull the weeds or whatever, that I would have it like on a chore stick, and that's the stuff that they would get money for. So they wouldn't get money or allowance for doing their day-to-day stuff, because that's, everybody has to contribute. But if they did something extra, like vacuum all the rooms in the house, you know, or dust all the rooms in the house, or like things that are like bigger that take longer, we would give them $1. I think it was like $5 a week, right? So then we would forget because we didn't have any type of system, and then we never had cash on us or anything like that. So we made like a chart, we made like a
promise to pay,
like an IOU, like an IOU, and it's just basically like it's just a chart, okay, and it's empty, and then we sign it. Like I started Xing it with like a highlighter, or marking it with a highlighter, for every dollar that they earn. So this way they can either cash out or they can get $100 if they fill up this whole thing. So this way I don't have to always every Friday go and give them $5. Instead, if we were at a store and they're like, oh, can I use money from my little debit account? And then I would let them, and then we would cross off the squares, because each square is $1. You know, so it was kind of like a banking system.
Yeah, nice. That's cool.
What
and
if they
it works
crossed
way
it
better
off themselves? Like when you're not looking.
Well, we had that. Okay, so that's my little one. He was like, thought he was slick, and they crossed it off themselves. So then I started putting my signature, like my initials. So now they're initialed out. So that's how I get away with that. I'm like, You're not gonna fake my initials.
Right? Or you'll know.
Or I'll know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do for allowance. And that's just not, that's now that they're older. But honestly, I don't know how I feel about allowance. Sometimes I feel like they shouldn't even get allowance because this is just their contribution to the household. And then I would see that they would just blow their allowance on Fortnite games, like the stupid skins and whatever else upgrades for their video games, you know, or they would just blow it on candy at the ice cream man. And I wanted them to learn to save it. Like, I don't know how I can teach them how to save for something bigger, you know? I don't
But I
know.
think that's going to depend on the kid because I feel like Peyton is my saver. Like he has a wallet in my drawer that is full of money that he has been saving.
Oh my
And
God, that's
Devin is
cute.
my spender. And Devin actually borrowed money from Peyton and he owes Peyton like $10 because he's a spender. And Peyton's like, he'll pay me back. I'm like, don't let him borrow. He's not gonna pay you back. He's already in debt. So I
Okay,
think it
is
just
that like,
depends on the kid.
because my middle one is a saver too, but my older one is the spender,
See?
and he lets the other one borrow. Is that just like the
I don't
role of
know.
that
I don't
the older
know.
one's irresponsible?
Oh Lord, have mercy. I
That's
don't
funny.
know.
Now that we're doing the Monopoly money with Landon, like I thought, okay, every time he has X amount of money, he's gonna use it to buy his cubbies back. But each cubby to buy back is like $2. He has $11 right now. I'm like, well, hey, you have this much money. Can you buy back some of your toys out of my storage?
Nope, I'm
Yeah,
And
saving
he's
it.
like, no.
he doesn't want to.
No, he wants to he's like, what can I do now to earn more money? And I'm like, dude, use your money to get your toys back. So I
That
think
is so
he's gonna
funny.
be our saver.
I wonder if
Wow.
he's just like likes the feeling of having all the money in his
Maybe.
hand, so
Yeah,
he's like, all
yeah.
right, let's make it
Right?
rain. You know what I noticed though is like when the kids are doing their chores, that's the only time they get along. Like they all of a sudden they're playing, like because they'd rather play than do their chores. So I think they're doing their chores in the back room, but really they're playing with like Legos and making a bigger mess. And then I come in, I'm like, and I don't know whether to be upset because they're not doing their chores or to
Or
be
happy because they're
thankful
getting
that they're
along.
getting along. And so I'm like, do I break it up or do I freaking not? Most of the
Has
time I don't because I want them to play together.
has the quarantine and them being inside made them get along more now that they're forced to kind of
Be
entertain
each
one
other's
another?
friends.
Yeah.
I think so. My older son he won't admit it, but I definitely think they've been working together more because I made it so that they can't play video games together until they're both done with their chores. They've been helping each other more and being like more friendly to each other.
Nice.
But they still fight. Honestly, I mean, they still fight and they
Brothers,
still drive
yeah.
me crazy. And it was funny because after the last episode about sibling rivalries, I was thinking like they were just fighting the other day and I went off on them and I thought, I'm a damn fool. Like last week I was talking about how I try to talk to them kindly and I tell them just explain and express your feelings. But that is not every day. That is not how it always is. Okay. Like there's times where I have to apologize because I popped off for no damn reason. Like sometimes
Yeah.
they're like, why are you so mad? I'm like, just do it. You know, when you just feel like you've had enough and you don't want to
Yeah.
freaking do it anymore.
Yep. Exactly.
I feel like
That's
my
a good.
patience is running thin with this quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like
And the,
exploding
and
more.
then do I hear we're extended again now
Yeah.
to May 14th?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like what?
The
Stay at
shelter
home.
in place.
Yeah, the stay at home.
I just figured we were going to be extended till June
You
because
already put it in
they
your head.
already canceled school. They already canceled us going to school for the rest of the school year. So in my heart, we're extended all the way until summer.
And that is also meaning that everything will still remain closed since everyone's going to be in the house, correct?
Correct.
Because I hear they're talking
I
about
don't
letting
know.
people go back to work too. But
Yeah,
I'm like, if they
that's what I
let
heard
them
too.
go back to work and then we still have to stay inside and things are open, like, I don't know. This whole thing is, I'm confused.
Yeah,
But
the homework, me sitting there and having to do their homework with them, and yeah, I'm not a teacher, and I'm like today, my son, he was writing obnoxiously big, like on purpose. Like he had to write a sentence, and his words were so huge, like
you
just
snap.
took up half the page. And I lost it. I was like, I grabbed his ear and I was like, do you do this at school? And he was like, no. And I'm like, then don't do this here. Why are you doing, like, why are you purposely trying to drive me crazy?
Yeah, it's homeschool. Even if you were a teacher or used to be a teacher, it's still a different story when it comes to your own kids.
Because they try to play
Your own
you.
kids will push your buttons. Your own kids will take it there.
Yeah.
We want to know what kind of chores your kids do. Do you give them an allowance? Leave a comment in our private Facebook group at Mamas and Mimosas. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.